Day 30 since coming back on trail. Some days I do just love my life. There are kind of a lot of comfort type sacrifices we make in order to, keep this going. When we're back in town, we're living out of cars, we're living out of campgrounds, things like that. But there certainly are benefits. I've talked about how a big factor in being willing to kind of just take that risk and go and do the PCT and everything was friends passing away or getting really sick, and it just seems like that keeps continuing. I keep getting bad news from people back in town. That's why I'm out here. Do as much as you can while you can, because you really, really never know. Also, I'm pretty sure this is cheaper than drugs and therapy, and healthier than just, drinking myself into a hole. So I had the coyotes yipping from up the hill at me last night, and then middle of the night I actually woke up to elk bugling, and it was nearby. I was actually able to briefly capture it on the phone. Unfortunately, I was so damn tired it was hard to stay up and record for very long. So I have another 30 some miles through the southern San Juans, as I believe this section would be referred to. It looks like, per the elevation profile, that it's going to get more gradual. I've got another pass over here, which is going to be another one of those butt kickers straight up sort of things that was killing me yesterday. But then it looks like it's more gradual. Granted, it pretty much always looks more gradual on the map until you get there, and then you're like, oh no. Far Out has an elevation profile, which is kind of nice for just kind of like planning out your brakes and things like that. So that's what I'm referring to when I say it looks like it goes straight up. I hadn't actually noticed until right now, but there's looks like a tent at a bivvy set up down there. Good thing I came off into the bushes. So I was on a bit of a slant last night. This is one of those times when it's actually really nice that I have the foam instead of an air mattress, because an air mattress, you're always going to slide easier. I have a couple of tensors I use, and they are a lot more comfortable, especially, if you're on a little bit of lumpy ground, but nothing beats this as far as durability and just how flexible it is. I mean, I use it for a seat during the day. I can throw it out pretty much anywhere. When I'm snow camping, this ends up being my kind of insulating layer below the air mattress. I just wish they didn't compress so quickly. You can see these are already pretty worn down. I've been watching my friends down below packing up. And okay, I just got my third cup of coffee down. Probably time for me to do the same. So per what T-Dub was saying back at the Trail Magic, the bubble of southbounders that came from the monument is basically just right behind me. And sure enough, I've seen a bunch of people this morning. That was actually partially why I came up here. The spot down there where I saw those tents this morning was actually listed on Far Out comments as, oh, there's decent camping here, just watch out for the cow pies. So I figure if there's people around, they're probably going to be aiming for that, versus I'm more likely to come out here into the middle of nowhere and find someplace. Partially that's so I can just enjoy the wilderness solitude and not have to listen to other people or smell cigarette smoke or all the other things that come from camping around other people. The other part of it is I watch TV at night, and I am editing videos for about an hour early in the morning, and nobody should have to listen to that rather than, wilderness solitude, people snoring, whatever they do in those busy camps. When I was leaving Pagosa, the lady that gave me a ride, we were talking about kind of our preferences for camping, and she actually liked camping in groups for safety. Now, when it comes to female hikers versus male hikers, obviously female hikers have a whole different kind of equation to it. The male on male creepiness, I've heard of incidents, but that is like a fraction. 99% of the issues out here are male on female creepiness. But oddly enough, when you talk to people, a lot of the times when they want to camp as a group, it's less about worrying about people issues, because guess what? If you're camping in a group of randos, you're going to have more drama there than you are if you're just, out on a hill in the middle of nowhere. But people are afraid of animals and, things like that, just general like wilderness stuff. And fair enough, I guess. If I had camped down in that group of what appears to be 5 people and snow had come in and I'd needed to resort to cannibalism, I would have had way, way more food sources than if it was just me. The most disturbing stuff I've run into is all around town, and I avoid camping around town. That is actually the last grizzly bear fatality I heard about out here. It was somebody who was camping in town, and you had a food acclimated grizzly bear, and they were killed. I have had my share of kind of scary animal encounters outside. Lots of snakes, been around bears, been between mother bears and cubs, been stalked down a ridge for a quarter of a mile by a mountain lion after dark, hiking solo out in the desert. But personally, I don't generally feel unsafe out here. There is that kind of gut reaction anytime you wake up and you're hearing something big moving around outside. But half the time, actually the vast majority of the time, it's just deer or something like that. And even if it is something like a black bear, they're basically oversized raccoons. As long as you don't just stay in your tent, call 911, generally act like an idiot, and then write an article for the Trek, 99% of the time, you're going to be able to spook them off. I find it internally hilarious when people hide inside of the tent, convinced that a little layer of DCF or sil nylon is going to stop the rampaging monster bear that they think is sniffing around outside. Good news is the water situation looks rather plentiful for this next bit. I'm enjoying it while I have it. New Mexico is going to be a completely different game once I get down to the south. Near as I can tell, there's a group of 5 and a group of 2 up ahead. Group of 2 look like thru hikers. Couldn't tell about the group of 5. As the smaller the trail, the more excited the support community is. Florida Trail had amazing angels. Mississippi River had amazing angels. Have I mentioned how much I miss my 2,000 mile trail legs and healthy lungs? Though I do seem to be doing better today. These guys made this climb go significantly faster. Now there's a site I haven't got near enough of lately. I normally have a slight preference for flowing water when I can get it, but just look at that. Crystal clear. The only time lakes are really bad are when there's an algae bloom going on. Keep leapfrogging with my Swedish friends back there. So from here it's only about 26 miles till Cumbers Pass, access to Chama, and that is where things will get at least a little bit exciting. So the ports that went out on that 20K battery, those are the input ports. It has an input-output USB-C. I don't know if that thing's going to charge or not. I have a 90-mile carry to the town after that, and I can't do a 90-mile carry on a 10K. It just ain't gonna work for me. So my plan is to splurge, go into town, get a hotel overnight, hopefully fiddle with the battery, hope I can get it to charge to just get me this last segment until I get my anchor. And if I can't, then I have to get creative. Worst case, I'll have to hitch back to Pagosa, which has a Walmart, buy something temporary and then hitch back. Or hitch down to Goldie's, grab my anchor, say, oh, I don't need those other batteries yet, and then hitch back. This trail has not had near enough pretty lakes lately. I am so damn annoyed at Nightcore and Platypus at the moment. And the thing that happened with the 10K, where it only had half the capacity it was supposed to, you just know there's a bunch of people that bought it because they saw online, oh, hey, this thing's light. Everybody says it's good. I'm going to buy a 10K or 2 10Ks. The other online advice that I don't actually agree with. And then they, so I've seen comments saying, I tried to charge my phone and it only charged once. Am I doing something wrong? Guarantee it's the same issue I saw. The problem, as one of my Swedish friends back there pointed out, is that the current Anker product lines don't have a readily apparent 10K, 20K option. Particularly the 20K, because that's what I was looking at. They have the 737, as they call it, but it can't charge off USB-C. It needs to have, power delivery, fast charge in and out, and that one does not. And personally, as a 20-year IT person who had to carry so many damn dongles and cables, I try very, very hard to standardize and limit the different ports I have. That's why I'm actually really, really happy Apple's finally biting the USB-C bullet. So that means I can have one less cable with me. I was debating if I was actually just going to add a second, like USB-C, previously Lightning cable, because I did contemplate when that port went out, before I realized that it was the battery, not the cable. If I did do something to the cable, like kick it in my sleeping bag and break it internally, that would be a single point of failure right there. Now, that's never happened to me north of 10,000 miles hiked, but doesn't mean it won't. 10,000? I gotta add up all these trails again and try and get a ballpark number. Be what, 2,600 PCT, 5,000 ECT, and then I did about 2,000 on this last time, and now I'm a little under 400 in this time. But then you got like the Condor, Grand Enchantment, and all these others. I don't know, I hike too much to keep track of that. I wanted to actually look it up for the Triple Crown, because I see posts all the time from people going, oh yay, my Triple Crown, and then saying XYZ miles, but I'm kind of suspect, because a few of those people I know did a very short version of the CDT and the numbers don't add up. And I honestly don't care that much. I'm just a stickler for precision when it comes to numbers. Even when I have to do, like the times I came off the ridge around Grays, I'll actually use Gaia and get a calculation for what the actual mileage I did is. It's been pretty ingrained out here in spring, though a good amount of the far out comments, I'd say the vast majority, are actually from northbounders. All about the snow, all about bailing off here and there. This is kind of where the Nobos end up having to make a whole bunch of accommodations usually. I'd still love to know why so many people are trying to do this trail northbound these days. Because from my research, traditionally it was a southbound trail. Mostly because of, southern Colorado in the time window. I suspect it's just with more and more people doing the PCT and the AT, which are traditionally done northbound, you get this identity, Nobo or death, that sort of thing. So people then come out here and want to try the same thing. And you get to start earlier in the year and stuff like that. Southbound season is, June till October, November. Whereas northbound season is, April to September probably. Glacier usually closes pretty hard sometime in late September, early October. And northbound would work pretty good if you flipped. Start out at the monument, come up to northern New Mexico, and then jump all the way up to Glacier and come south, like that guy, Chicago, I talked to a couple of days ago. Only downside to that is, as with most of those, you don't get to finish at a monument. And I've had magical experiences finishing at various monuments, so I'm always kind of loath to let go of that. Hell, it's probably a case where one of the big YouTubers did it northbound, so that's what everybody thinks of. I just realized how nice this weather is. Even the wind hasn't given me too hard of a time right now. I'm still not trusted enough to take off my fleece, but it's just been a breeze and it's fully clear. Probably means the snow and tornadoes starts tomorrow. It must be good near a weekend. Keep seeing bigger groups of people loaded like weekenders. This is the biggest one yet. 13 people in that group. This is a nice change from all the steep ups and downs. Mixed feelings about leaving this area. It's been really, really pretty, even if rough. So this is my second to last visit to 12K. Okay, if I can avoid tripping again and breaking my ankle, I'm currently descending down to Dipping Lakes, which looks like it's last water for a little while, so that'll be the fill up. Though I'm kind of thinking I might as well do that final climb up to 12K again, since obviously there are, I've been at 12K. Obviously there are trees and things up here I can stay at. Okay, easy peasy. Water down there, and then get back to climbing. Unfortunately, there's another one of these unmaintained sections. Swept up here, but at least I'm out of all the dead trees. Should be able to find something. I decided to stop with the wind going like this. I don't particularly want to go past sundown and just start losing sun. So I made it up from Dipping Lakes. I should have an easy time going over the remainder of the hill. And then it doesn't look too bad to get into Cumbers. I'm only about 13, 14 miles away. I am a little worried about my battery, so I'm thinking rather than do my normal sit at the trailhead and go in the next morning, I'm going to try and get in tomorrow afternoon, see if my battery is completely done. This is such a pain. You know, it's one thing if I lost something, got something stolen, but if it's just the fact that, you know, Nightcore brand products are crap and this keeps happening. Anyway, I'm starting to get excited because these views are really changing. Feels like I've popped out the far side of the mountains and I'm transitioning into New Mexico. But for tonight, I am just going to huddle down and try and stay warm out of the wind. This will probably be the highest camp I got for the remainder of the trip, come to think of it. Home sweet home. And speaking of brands with less than stellar quality, Ultra is doing Ultra things. So today is actually the end of the 30th day since I started at Rocky Mountain National Park. Good news is I seem to be feeling a little more content out here. I think the rough bit in the San Juans gave me that little hump to get over. So now I'm not going to stop because then that would have been for nothing, you know, sort of breaking my leg or something.
This weekend's trip is up in the Mammoth Lakes area of the Sierra. We hiked in over Duck Pass and we made pretty good time, so we might actually do our peak this afternoon. This is coming up on the Duck Lake.
Jen and I are volunteer leaders with the Sierra Club Angeles chapter. Los Angeles has the biggest chapter of the Sierra Club as far as outings, and trips like this are led by volunteers at no cost. These particular trips are aimed at participants from the Wilderness Travel course, that wilderness backpacking course that we teach every January to March-ish. Basically, after the classroom sessions are done, after the official outings are done, we offer a variety of these weekend backpacking trips. Students have to do 2 trips, either ones we organize or ones they organize, in order to officially graduate. And the idea is just for them to use all the skills that we've gone over in class. While the cost of living in Southern California can be atrocious, one of the big pluses is we have access to the Sierra Nevada. And of all the mountain ranges, of all the wilderness areas I've done, the Sierra is hands down the most spectacular. This particular trip is in the Mammoth Lakes area, well, up above the Mammoth Lakes area, which is kind of the destination ski area for California. If you're noticing the mountains look different in this section, it's because the Mammoth area is actually volcanically active, so the granite from the Sierra High Country kind of gives way to more rolling hills and this darker colored volcanic rock.